Hello and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Bryan Steele and I will be your nerd today and any other day that you choose to grace the internets or your phone or your tablet or anything else with my smiling face and all of this weirdness. Alright, so today is going to be a weird one. I've got a little bit of stuff to cover, a lot of personal stuff to cover, and then we're going to get into the topic. But first and foremost, let's take a look at my shirt. I've worn it here before, but this is one of my favorite Armor Class 10 shirts, sponsor of the show, which I have it on good authority that we are going to see some new t-shirt types here pretty soon here on the show. And also, you might actually, if you're feeling crafty and you want to save some money, you can use my discount code TFAPN to fappin. Tales from a Professional Nerd. Obviously, it's all condensed at armorclass10.com to get 10% off. The link and everything is in the description of the video. That's fine. But I want to show you this is one of my favorite shirts. So I'm an old school hip hop head from way back in the day. I love like late 80s, early 90s rap. Huge fan, always have been. I'm actually a big fan of Insane Clown Posse and the Psychopathic Records family. There are, in fact, there's literally proof that multiple times I've gone to concerts all clowned up and got Fago sprayed in my eyes and things. Well, I'm sharing today. I'm sharing. But this is one of my favorite shirts because it's obviously a play on the old Run DMC logo, and Run DMC was one of the first cassette tapes that I used to play constantly in my Walkman, my tape player on the school bus coming back and forth, because I lived far enough away from my school that we were always, me and my sister were always the last ones on the bus, or the last ones off the bus, and like one of the first ones on. So the bus rides were always really, really long. So I started bringing my Walkman to school. And a Walkman, for the people who don't know, is it's like, imagine an iPod that sucked. Basically, you put music cartridges inside, and the tapes played the music through a set of headphones. But I listened to a ton of old school rap. Run DMC, Beastie Boys, Kool Moe Dee, The Fat Boys. A lot of that stuff on the bus going back and forth. And then, of course, I got into my metal and all the other stuff. But I digress. I love this t-shirt design because anytime that you can give me a sense of nostalgia, but also let me, fly my geek flag, I'm in. So go to Armor Class 10, buy this shirt, buy other shirts, check out some of the new shirts. You might even get to see the new shirts before I wear them here on the show. That's what I'm saying. Also, big part of the weekend, Brian, is a big shout out to my new sponsor, Turbo. That was cool. Turbo Dork Paints. First off, they're amazing. I love them as a company. We've been friends, industry friends for almost 2 years now at this point. And they had been sending me paint for a long time. And then a couple weeks ago, I went ahead and just asked the owner, and I was like, you want to make this official? Let's make this official. Let me start spouting how cool your stuff is, and I want to be. So, even though it is not cold in the office yet, although it's going to be soon, I've got a new winter hat that announces my sponsor and announces my awesomeness as a turbo dork. Not so fast. I'm not a fast dork. I'm more like my mind is always in motion. But with my beanie came some very cool stuff that I want to show you guys. So they just put out, or they're starting to, I think they're taking pre-orders for stores for their line expansion 4. And it's got some cool stuff, and they sent me the cool stuff. They also sent me this really cool little patch, little Turbo Dork patch. I don't have anything that I put patches and stuff on. Like I don't have like I was gonna say a jean jacket. Oof. But I don't have anything that I really put patches on. So here's what I'm gonna do. You guys. This video, I'm gonna say that everybody who comments on this video until this video is gonna come out on the 1st of October. Happy October, everybody. And as a celebration of such things, I am going to give one at the end of the month of October. So basically, through all of the different videos that we do in October, even the Game Hole Con special, even we're gonna go and we're gonna make this a thing. All of the comments that I get in the month of October, from this video until the last video, I will take all those comments and shuffle them up in a deck of cards, so to speak. And one random person, I will contact you to get your mailing address, and I will send you this little Turbo Dork patch and sticker so you can celebrate the amazingness that is my new sponsor with me. How's that? I like giving away stuff. I'm a big fan. Hopefully, as the channel grows, tell your friends to subscribe. As the channel grows, I'll get even more sponsorship and even more cool stuff and be able to give away things even faster. But let's talk about what came in Expansion 4. So I have not had a chance to open these up or use them yet. I hopefully, when I figure out how to make my hobby rig work better on the other table, because the last couple times, frankly, it sucked. I haven't been a big fan of the recording quality. I think my laptop's recording quality has gone downhill. So I might need to figure out a better way to do it. But we will get a chance to use these. But I want to show you these cool colors, including there is one color that's in this that it's honestly the reason why I reached out to Turbo Dork to begin with. Is I saw it in practice. I saw some of their test videos, and not to be profane, but hot damn, this is gonna be. It makes me. There are models that I want to buy now. There are models that I specifically want to buy in order to in order to specifically use this paint. I'm gonna find reasons to use this. Is really what it comes down to. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at these. Hopefully, you'll be able to get to see them. I'm going to go from basically lighter to darker, and then get to show you kind of how these cool things work. All right, make sure I got it all right. All right, okay. So we start off with the Bee's Knees. So the Bee's Knees is a kind of a nice solid metallic gold. It's got a very little bit of a green shine in it. It's kind of the greener side of golds. But it's a gorgeous metallic, and I definitely am going to be making use of this. Will it replace my Stuart Simple goldest gold that ever golded? I don't know. I don't think so. Because that is like science crazy. But I don't know. I haven't used this yet. Hell, this might end up being the prime, and then I'll use the goldest gold to highlight this. I don't know. Either way, freaking awesome. Bee's Knees. Next one is Hot Commodity. Hot Commodity, which is kind of a brass. It's kind of a brassy color. which is honestly cool. I was doing some commission painting last night, and the brass that I was using as the weapon hilts on a bunch of uh, swords and things was running really low, and I added some medium to it, and I think it lightened up too much. Next one here is we've got Peachy Keen. That's right, a metallic pink. So I'm gonna flag fly on this one here for a second. If you paint anything for Age of Sigmar Slaanesh, or like if you want to do your Chaos Titans, have them be a Slaaneshy feel, or man, I just thought about doing your Emperor's Children for 40k. If you did some of their armor plates in Peachy Keen, that metallic pink, dude, they will pop so hard. Yeah, I may very well buy one of those so I don't play Adeptus Titanicus, the kind of downscaled Titan game, mostly because yeah, I don't know, it didn't appeal to me initially, just a bunch of Titans beating each other up. But now that they're starting to bring in, you know, the Chaos Titans, and then maybe we may, you know, crossing fingers, maybe we'll see like Orc Gargants and, you know, Elf Titans, Eldar Titans. You know, it'd be neat, but right now it's just not my thing. Maybe I'll buy one of the Chaos ones and do it up in Peachy Keen and just sell it on eBay or something. But Peachy Keen, this even if you're just gonna go out and when Expansion 4 goes out to stores, even if you just get your store to buy some of this from them, from Turbo Dork, or hell, go to Turbo Dork directly and get it. Just make sure you tell them I sent you. Peachy Keen, that's awesome. The next one is a kind of a brown red. It's a port, like almost like a port purple, called Box Wine. Which, some of their naming conventions are easily, like, I can see them sitting around the table and being like, all right, what color? It's kind of a metallic, winey color, you know, but, you know, in a dropper, it's yeah, let's do that, Box Wine. So, but yeah, so Box Wine, it's a nice, it's a nice kind of like deep metallic red purple. I don't know exactly what I'll use it for initially, but it is one of the things that I have found with the Turbo Dork paints is just having the option. Like when I'm doing a model, I'm doing a commission model for somebody, and he's got like a magic sword or like a special shield or something that I want to look different than anything else currently, you know, in the squad, or like to set a character apart. I grab a Turbo Dork paint, I figure out which color or which sheen I want to use, and it does the trick, because they do things with the hue and the different style out of color shifting paints, things like that, that just look like nothing else you've seen. And not to besmirch my painting skills, but there are techniques that you can get to get some of these, you know, color patterns and things that might take you 7 or 8 different layers, you know, wet blending and so forth, that a less skillful, or maybe somebody wants to cut corners, something along those lines, a painter like that can use one of these colors and get most of that effect. Obviously, it's not going to be, you know, the best Golden Demon quality shading, unless you go ahead and go back and do that. But it is a really good block set to go with. The Gordian Knot is a kind of a metallic, it's definitely a green, but it's not like a forest green. It's kind of almost a muted green. Let me pull it back so you can see it a little better. It's kind of got that sort of like almost like a gray green, like metallic orcs. Not that I would suggest doing metallic orcs. And then the opposite here, we have a turbo shift paint, which this is what they call their color shifting paints, which goes from a lighter green all the way down to a dark green into a blue, and that is Scarab. So if you can take a good look, so it starts at that light green and shifts all the way down into that deep blue. Very cool color. Very, very cool color. If you've got insect, I would love to see a Tyranid army done with some of the color shifting on not the whole not the whole model, but like any of the hard plates, any of like their hard chitinous stuff. I think it'd be really sweet to see kind of a scarab shine on it. Another turbo shift paint we've got that is goes from like a gray to a slightly like a gray brown to a green. Uh, uh, so like scary dirt to a green. We have Grave Robber. So it's got that brown gray pewter up through green into a slightly it's still a green hue, but it's definitely on the darker side of things as far as the turbo shifting goes. And then we've got, let's see all the rest of these. Yeah, so then there's these four. These are just straight up. This one I love, and I'm hoping, I think I'm going to use because it. All right, how about I show you before I start running my mouth? So another turbo shift called Supermassive that goes from like a dark blue purple up through like a red orange all the way up into that bright kind of like sunset orange. I think this is going to be one of my favorites to go on like gun barrels, or maybe like engine like exhaust pipes and stuff. Right there at the end where it's like it's shown that's like all the carbon scoring, and if I can get it right, hopefully the color shift will go from that kind of dark up to the glow at the end. So that should be really cool. And then we've got Skyrat, which is another turbo shift paint that goes from purple to, it's got like a purple to a blue green, then back to a purple. So like we've got purple, here, let me get a good tilt on it. Purple, I can't get it to turn. Up through that blue, into the blue, and then back into almost a cooler purple. I think this will be another good one for like certain weapon types. Like some gun barrels, things that aren't currently hot, but have been in the past. And now we get into the two metallics that I think are, I don't want to say revolutionary, but they're definitely a new kind that they haven't done before. The first one is Rainbow Roll, and Rainbow Roll is a metallic. So keep in mind, this is not a turbo shift. This is not a color shifting paint. It just has a hue line that basically gives that kind of that sort of rainbow effect, almost kind of oil slick effect. Which I plan on using this to do oil slicks and things. Very, very cool. This is going to be your paint that you don't do. Like, you're not going to say, I want to paint a model mostly in Rainbow Roll. Now, that'll be too much. But it'll look great as the highlight edge on a laser sword. Or if you've got some guy who maybe like a robot that's leaking fluid, this might be a really cool way to show the fluid leaking. Or I haven't tried it yet, but mixing it with a little clear resin for like water effects to get that kind of oil on top of water. Might be really cool, like puddles or like road smears, that kind of stuff. And then the last one in this expansion 4 that is the reason I reached out, the reason I was like, hey Turbo Dork, I love you, please sponsor me, and they said yes, is the first that I've seen. I have not seen this before. Now, it might exist in other lines. Feel free to comment below and let me know. But in my 30 years of painting, I have not seen this before. I've seen people use different paints to blend and make effects. I've seen people, show, hey, this is how you can make this work. But I've never straight up seen a black ice is the name of this thing. It is a metallic black. And no color shift. It doesn't go from like light gray to dark black. It is just a straight up black metallic paint. And I will say, having seen a couple of things, this is what I would love to do with, like, I would love to paint a Darth Vader in this instead of that matte black. I would love to do, when we've recently been told that we're going to get a new, for Star Wars Legion, we're going to get a new Darth Maul with the robot legs from the Crimson Dawn, but he's going to have the Darksaber. Do this with maybe a highlight of Rainbow Roll to give it that kind of, that sheen, or maybe Shell Shock. But I'm so excited to use this. I don't even know on what. Like, I've got some ideas, but like when it comes to stuff of my own, I thought, oh! I just looked up my counter, up my collections, and I realized what might get the first of this, and then the lightning around him. I have yet to paint my Necron Void Dragon Catan. Ooh, yeah, I think that has just... This might be... Originally, I wanted to try and find some, like, polished chrome to do the Void Dragon, but I think this might even be better. Is do this, do his skin in black ice, and then do all of his lightning and stuff in, like, Shell Shock or some of that kind of, like, really highlight. Oh, man, that's going to be rad. That's going to be rad. Okay, yes. So that's going to happen. And when I get it done, I'll definitely bring it here and show you guys. So yeah, that is everything that I got from my sponsor. They're my sponsors. Hopefully, very shortly, I'll have some more t-shirts to show you. And I'll have some cool stuff that paint-wise to show you that I've painted using the Turbo Dork stuff. All right, let's get into the week in Bryan. So last week, I got to play both Curse of Strahd. I didn't get to play Curse of Strahd this week. But I did get to play the Waking Realms game, where I'm a Capoeira Cat Monk. And I have come to the conclusion that I'm amazing. Is that it's, when you're fighting things that have average armor class, where you can hit them pretty regularly, yeah, your wizards and your paladins with their smites and things like that, they might be able to do bigger bangs faster, like, but they don't just do regular damage, like just constant, steady. They gotta blow their wad. And my monk frequently, just because of, if it's average dice, and just because of my high dex modifier, and I'm consistently doing 30-40 damage a round with 3 or 4 punches. And I have a feeling that that's only going to get better as my martial arts die goes higher. So that's pretty cool. In the game itself, plotline wise, I still think we are getting to the end boss. I think we're getting to the big bad evil guy. I think we're getting close to the end. For the sheer fact that it feels like we are being, I'm not going to say railroaded. That is not the case. I am going to say that we are getting a lot of, how you when you're playing a D&D game, you get a lot of side plots highlighted for you. You're like, oh, hey, side plot. Oh, hey, side plot. We're getting a lot more, not so much side plots as, here is a stepping stone on the way to what looks like a gigantic end plot. So I think that's what's happening. I think we're getting to the end of the end of the show, so to speak. Played a cute little game with my family called Cover Your Kingdom, and a card game that is filled with fantasy puns. Like that's like its shtick. It's just covered. The whole thing, all the cards are puns, plays on words, things like that. It's very cute. If I have one criticism, it is the rule book is laid out terribly. The actual instructions on how to play, it doesn't tell you what your goal is until like page 7, like how to win, page 7. It doesn't tell you, like it refers to things that you can do before you know that you can do them. Like it refers to them by like when you want to recruit a clan, and then like how to recruit a clan is 3 pages later, or what recruiting a clan even is like 3 pages later. It's just really terribly laid out. But one of the things that I will say is that the game has it comes with optional rules that are like modifications to the game. So if you play the game just baseline what it is, it's fun. We had a good time. But then like once the base game is, I don't want to say boring for you, but once the base game is lost some of its shine, you can add one of these modifiers in, or 2 of these modifiers, or all 3 of these modifiers, or none of them. You know, like it's up to you. But it's a cool way of, I love the idea of basically showing people that it's not a house rule, it's a game modification, and we've added the parts for you to be able to use it if you want to. I dig that. I'm a huge fan of game design that says, you know, here is the way to play. Here is an alternate thing you can add to gameplay if your table chooses to do so. I dig that. I'm a big. I would rather, in most instances, especially in things like board games and card games, I would rather have the option to add stuff rather than, oh God, we have to go get the expansion or this is going to be terrible. Yeah. So played that. Played a lot of Tabs and Sea of Thieves. But I haven't really played any like conventional minis games or anything lately. No Necromunda. Things have been kind of, you know, first it was pre-Gen Con, then it was post-Gen Con, and now it is, for me, it's pre-Gamehole Con, and then when that's over, I've got a breather until Gary Con / Adepticon. So I've got a long stretch. Speaking of a breather before the next con season, I told you guys that I would keep myself accountable for my health. You know, a few episodes back, I talked about how I haven't really been all that healthy. Well, a little over a month ago, almost a month and a half, about 6 weeks ago, I started a lower carb health plan. I don't want to call it a diet, because a diet makes you think, oh, I'm going to do this for a little while and then stop. This is something I needed to do. I really need to shed the pounds. Well, since I started this, let you guys know, I've lost 22 pounds, which is a lot for most people. It is a lot less for someone my size because it's a lower percentage of my body. But it's still working. I'm still going strong. My wife has done great. She's lost almost 20 pounds. We're doing good. We're learning lots of cool ways of making this, making our menus extend and go further. The hardest thing for me is I don't want to make a bunch of. I don't want to push this dietary lifestyle on my kids. So I end up making basically like 2 meals, or at least an alternate additional thing for them. And sometimes that's hard. You know, sometimes when I'm eating my lettuce wrapped taco and my kid's munching on a bowl of Frito taco salad, I really want to like elbow him out of the way and finish his salad, but I can't. But again, being able to hop on the scale again and seeing, even if it's just like a half a pound every other day, it's something. And now I know my body, I put my body through the ringer, and it will probably never be the same as it was back in the day when I was hockey weight and, you know, doing good, you know, got through my P90X a couple of times. You know, I don't know if I'll ever be able to get back to that, but I need to shed some of these pounds so I can stay healthier and feel better. And which I do. Even just these 22 pounds, I feel good. I feel much, much better. A couple days ago, I had to take an emergency run down to the post office. It's only a couple of blocks away, but 3 months ago, that walk to the post office would have had my back hurting and me possibly out of breath. a couple days ago when I had to run down there to help Natalie out with something. I felt great. I didn't have a single ache. I was not even short of breath. So it's working. It's helping, and I'm seeing the difference. Maybe not necessarily physically yet. Like I still feel kind of like a big fat gamer, but I'm hoping that it's getting better. Speaking of getting better, again, Week in Bryan. I told you this is gonna be a weird episode. We're not gonna actually spend a whole lot of time on the topic because I've got all this other like real life stuff to say. Um, the One of the things that I want to say is being a freelancer. You sometimes run into weird money issues. It just everything and its brother goes bad at the same time. Everything breaks. Your car breaks. Your roof leaks. Your heater goes out. There's all these different things that can happen, and if it all happens at once, and you're between paychecks, you just kind of have to throw your hands in the air and go, all right, what gets fixed and what can wait. That's been kind of my thing for the last month. Gen Con hit me pretty hard. It hit me kind of hard in the wallet. And because of the time off for the convention, I haven't had a chance to turn in any new work yet. So it's still going to be a week or two before things even out as far as money goes. And it started, and everyone knows at the end of the month / beginning of the new month, that's when your mortgage is due. It's when all these things that all kind of culminate at the same time. And I was really starting to sweat it last week. I won't lie, I was in a kind of a bad place, and I had a conversation with a dear friend of mine. She has asked not to be named. I'm assuming because it's private and whatever. But you know who you are. I had basically a conversation with them that they are. I want to say effectively, they are bankrolling a project that a non-work related project, a financing project that when it goes through, when all the wheels fall into place, it's gonna knock a ton of debt off of my shoulders. It's gonna eliminate a ton of monthly bills. It's big, and it's a huge deal, and it's a massive help to me and my family. And you know who you are, you wonderful human being, you. That we were able to make this arrangement, and we were able to work out that financial contract. So I love you. You know who you are. Also, almost as if I yelled it to the universe late at night with a few scotches on my breath, and the universe thought back and said, you know what? Maybe it's time to give them a little bit of a break. So, very long story short, I'm not going to get into the deep details or the numbers involved. But a long time ago, when we bought this house, Natalie and I got suckered into doing home repairs with a company that was not good. It was a bad. And we ended up trying to take them to court. Well, they didn't show up for court, so we got basically, we had leverage over them. The owner of the company came forward, paid off the leverage. We thought everything was taken care of, and then 6 months later, I started getting mail that company had to go bankrupt and was doing a bunch of debt absolution, and my name was on that list. That they still technically owed us some kind of state fee or whatever. Well, it turned out that even though we settled out of court, it seems that, or rather, we agreed to not follow through with the small claims. It looks like something happened where the company didn't report things. they didn't do their end of the bargain, so to speak, and so the court case still technically went through. Or I don't know. I don't know the exacts on it. But the end result is, over the last year or so, I have been getting mail about this company's bankruptcy, about this company's debt absolution. And I filled out all the forms, and I even called the state auditor and was like, "Hey, am I looking? What is this? Am I? I'm confused. I'm no lawyer." And I had them take a look at it, and the auditor was like, "Oh, hey, this is what's going on." And basically, what it was, the state was whittling down all of the debts that they had on record that these guys are supposed to be paying back, and at some point that tally would be zero. And the only reason I was getting this mail originally, the only reason I was getting this mail is because my name is somewhere in their vast files as a previous debt on the account, and that the auditor basically told me straight away, it is unlikely that anything will come of this, and even if it does, it'll be positive in your favor. But basically, you're going to keep getting because your name is on this long list of people that this dissolving company is dealing with. You're gonna get you're gonna get these pieces of mail. And sure enough, I was getting ridiculous, like 48 to 50 page packets in the mail that was all just legalese and jargon, that at the end it was, if none of this pertains to you, destroy. Or if all of your information on the list matches your current information, do nothing, destroy, or keep for your records. It was hilarious. And I got 2 or 3 of these packets, and I got several regular letters and things. So yesterday, when we opened up the mail, I saw another letter from the auditor, and I'm like, oh, okay, state auditor. I'm sure this has, every other time I've gotten a letter from the state auditor, it's because of this thing. And so I open it up, and sure enough, it's a payout. It's not much compared to what technically they originally owed or whatever. Like, it's they're absolving their debt at pennies to a dollar, I'm sure. But just one of those, at this exact moment, man, do I need just this little extra edge to get us through the next few weeks, above and beyond, fix a couple of things that have broken in the last couple of weeks that, we looked at, we're like, we can live without that. Like, the universe answered. And so I'm in a very good mood. Work is going fantastically well. Commission painting is going solid. I am neck deep in the first big Transformers narrative arc. I've got a bunch of stuff lined up for when that's done. Basically, I'm just pumped. I'm excited. This is gonna be rad. I'm in a good place. And when everything goes through here in about a month, it's going to take about a month for all these financial playground things to come together. But when it does, Natalie and I are going to be in a really good position to maybe shrug off a little stress. So that's been the week in Bryan. However, I have one quick thing that I did find out this morning. That is a sad thing. You have seen me wear the shirt here on the channel, and I've talked about it before. Dust Tactics, Dust 1947. Paolo Parente, the owner and manager of the company, just announced that the company is no longer going to produce product. That the company is effectively going out of business. And not only is that just a sad state of affairs, because the game is a lot of fun, the lore is amazing, the models are great, and the stuff that they were talking about, the future previews that they were looking at, everything looked fancy. It looked great. It really looked like that game was gonna take off shortly in a different direction, in a great direction. it seems that with the increase in shipping prices, all the issues with imports and stuff from China, and the COVID disaster over the last year and a half, that they've just suffered far too many losses, and Paolo is calling it quits. I have friends that work for the company, and I feel for them with all my heart. And I'm hoping, as an industry professional, it always sucks to see a company close its doors. Even if it's a company, I mean, I love this company, but even if it's a company I don't like, it still sucks to see them close their doors. It hurts because there are freelancers that relied on them. There are designers that thought that was going to be their meal ticket for the foreseeable future. In this one, this hurts a little harder because there are members of that staff, upper management, that I know what they're going through in their personal lives, and they're close friends of mine, and I just wish I could reach out and hug them, because this is not good for anybody involved. And then as the gamer in me, I hate it because I was really looking forward to the new Army coming out that was supposed to come out this December, but then COVID paused everything, and then was hopefully next December. But I really wish that stuff would have happened. Now there is nothing to say. Literally they just made this announcement. There's nothing to say that another company might not sweep in and go, "Hey, this is a really lucrative brand," whoop, and take it. I'm sure it will stay alive in the fan circles for a long time to come. Hell, I'm thinking about fan releasing some of the models that I designed on the side for fun, just to hey guys, look at this cool thing. So that was a bummer news to get this morning, was to see that Dust is closing its doors. Again, I hope that it is just a temporary thing, that it is not, Paolo, he's done with it, because of business and money and whatever, but maybe someone else will step in and buy him out, keep him on as the lead designer or whatever. But it's a bummer. I'm not there's no other way to put it. It makes me sad that company is ceasing production. All right. So, wow, I have been talking for 40 minutes about everything in there. So this is a weird episode, but I guess since it's really just an opinion episode anyway, I can tell you. Earlier this week, here's the meat of the topic. I take this off, my head's starting to sweat. Earlier this week, and I threw it on the phone. Earlier this week, Wizards of the Coast announced that in 2024, so still a couple years off, they will be releasing a new direction for D&D. So for Dungeons and Dragons, that is going to be all 5e capable, all 5e capable, or compatible. So everything's going to be backwards compatible. All the stats and stuff is going to stay this, effectively stay the same. They've been very careful not to call it 6th edition. They've been very careful not to call it 5.5. Although most of the fan bases and media outlets have been calling it 5.5. Or I have a feeling they're probably going to call it 5e revised or 5 revised. Or possibly 5e, the 2024 edition. Who knows? Or, because it is going to be on the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons, is 2024, maybe it will be the 50th anniversary version of Dungeons and Dragons. The 50th anniversary celebratory copy or whatever. And basically they stated that it's going to have a ton of monsters, and it's going to have some updated rules and some updated terminologies and things like that. They've been very vague on purpose, which is good because it means that no one has anything to hold them to when that happens. But the current kind of rumor running around is that this is going to be Wizards of the Coast way of adopting to the new school mentality of where Dungeons and Dragons and role playing seems to have been kind of led recently. Um, it is no secret. I am not a big fan of the one of the most recent books that has come out. I'm a fan of parts of it. I think it's about 75% of the book is pretty okay. I think the other 25% is a dangerous precedent that sounds like it's being kind of carried forward, and that's Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. That source book is, in my opinion, the kind of thing that it is so many house rules, so many optional rules, ways to change things at your table effectively to make to I'm going to sound stodgy and I don't mean to make whiny players stop whining. It adds a bunch of stuff to Dragonborn that they don't need. It adds the ability to shift class abilities back and forth, which is unnecessary. It leans away from racial modifiers on your characters because we would want to try and everybody should have the ability to do everything and have access to everything if they so wish, because I don't know. Again, maybe I'm showing my age. Maybe I'm showing that I am a DM more than I'm a player. And I'm not the kind of DM that's like, yes, me versus you. But I am the kind of DM that says, no, you can't have everything all of the time. And negatives happen. Drawbacks are a thing. Flaws are what make your character possible. And if this is going to be a game of you guys getting everything you want all of the time, why am I telling this story? Why don't we just go watch a movie? Or why don't you just tell me how my story, my plot arc and our story, why don't you just go ahead and tell me how this goes, because the rules are irrelevant. That's my opinion. And I know there are a lot of people out there like, oh, you're one of those stodgy old DMs that doesn't want their players to get anything, and you'd rather have them not have fun at the table. That's not true. I want everybody to have a blast at my table. I don't want anybody upset. I don't want people to walk away hurt. I don't want people to ever trudge over that line of good taste. But I also want to make sure that my players are challenged and that it's realistic insofar that not everybody gets to do everything. Sometimes you have to rely on people's skills individually. That's why you're a team. That's why you're a party. That's why you hire that's why the dwarves came to Hobbiton, because they needed a burglar. If the dwarves were building their characters with Tasha's, half of them would have the burglar skills and it wouldn't be an issue. So that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting at. And I am afraid. I have trepidation that this new direction that WotC wants to go with D&D is more in line with Tasha's, more in line with let's give the players everything they want, and the DM is really just there to babysit their decisions, instead of let's set firm rules and have a structure of drawbacks and benefits that make these characters feel more like living, breathing creatures instead of just caricatures of what I want to do at the moment. Also, I have a feeling that also we've been seeing a lot of previews from Fizban's was it Guide to Dragons or Draconic Guide or something like that, which is a book that I cannot wait to get. Not even necessarily because I want to use all of the dragons and dragon lore and feats and things that are in it. It's more on the lines of, it looks like there's a really, really good read. There's a lot of they just recently previewed two of the very cool dragons that are in there, dragon types, and it sounds like we're going to get gem dragons back for old school gamers. They've been around a while. It sounds like we are probably going to get our stats for our platinum dragon, or the non-god version of Bahamut. Very cool. Happy that. But they've previewed a couple of the weird dragon types, and I can see from a design standpoint where they looked at the people that put this book together and were like, all right, we need 30 new dragons, and there's 7 of these and 3 of these and 5 of these. All right, we need some one-offs. We need some weirdos. And they came up with the Illithid Brain Dragon, or the Great Brain Dragon or something, which is basically a dragon that has been infected with the Illithid shape-shifting thing. So he's this weird rubbery tentacle dragon thing that has psionic blasts, and its breath weapon is filled with Illithid larvae. It's so gross, but super scary. The kind of thing that truly nightmares are made from. And then there's another one that I'm gonna need to read it because it looks goofy. It sounds goofy. And on top of all of that, it seems like the kind of thing that if you've ever played Magic the Gathering, there used to be a set way back in the day called Unglued that had just a bunch of ridiculous, not a pun cards, but also just a lot of ridiculous things that the designer was like, all right, let's do it. This was what this dragon sounds like. It's called the Beholder Dragon. And now in my mind, when I'm like, okay, they mixed a beholder and a dragon together, what I personally immediately think of is a very long, regular draconic body, probably a dark purple, maybe a fuchsia, and in place of its normal head, it's got a beholder style head with a bunch of eye stalks on it, or maybe a beholder style head, and instead of eye stalks, it's got eyes on its shoulders and on its neck, or something, just basically like an eyeball dragon. Well, they took this beholder dragon, and it's a dragon. It's kind of a brownish color. And instead of its regular wings, it's got this kind of bendy, weird wings that have these little eye stalks coming off of them. Very weird. And then the big central eye of a beholder, rather than being in the head of the dragon, it's in its mouth. It's in its mouth. So it opened up its mouth and there's an eyeball there. I know why they did it. They did it so its breath weapon can be the anti-magic cone of a beholder. I get that. It's stupid. Because if it's a living creature, how the hell does it eat? There's an eyeball that takes up my entire mouth. If it is a dragon and it has a bite attack, you're going to basically poke yourself in the eye every time you bite something hard or spiky? It's a weird placement. Even if you were gonna do that, put it on the end of its tongue. Make that its primary eye stalk. Don't just go eyeball. It's so weird. It's so weird. But it's just weird enough that I want to see what else is in this book. So Fizban's, I think it's Legacy of Dragons or something like that. I can't wait. I'm gonna jump onto that as hard as I can when I can. But I digress. One of the things that they've done when they've shown them the character template for those things, WotC recently got a lot of grief for making some of their races wholly evil. Some of their cultures just basically straight up evil or straight up, primitive or whatnot. And were called racists. And that it's, you know, racist to have dark-skinned drow automatically be evil because they have dark skin or things like that. Now, if that affects you, I'm sorry, and I would hope that the people you play with take your feelings into account. But I personally, it doesn't hit me in a way that it hits other people. If someone at my table ever said, I don't like how drow are represented, it seems very racist, then I would avoid that at the table. I'm not going to do something that bothers my players, that makes them uncomfortable. That's the rule of the day, is you work with your players, and as long as I'm not Twitch streaming my game, or as long as I'm not, you know, telling everybody or trying to publish a book about it, what happens really isn't, it doesn't affect you, it's not a big deal. Well, WotC as a company, they fall in that category of, they are producing a product, they are putting that out, and because the opinion of many gamers is that some of that material is of a questionably racist jargon, they are changing a few things. And in, at least in some of the preview pages of recent books, it has shown that some of the monsters, instead of being like alignment lawful evil, it is alignment oftentimes lawful evil, or predominantly neutral good, or whatever. And what they're doing is they're giving themselves some wiggle room, so that way they can say, no. As a culture, most of them are taught to be this horrible thing, but that is not to say that you couldn't use good drow. You know, they are there, that we've left room for them. Everybody's happy. I have a feeling that it's going to be more of those kinds of changes. That it might be a couple of rules changes here and there, few things. I expect that long rests will probably change. Right now, the fact that long rests get you, if you've got 1 hit point when you go to sleep, you wake up 8 hours later and you've got 300 because you're a level 20 guy. That's a little silly. I have a feeling that long rests are going to change. I have a feeling that we're going to see more inline rules of when you can take a long rest and when you can take a short rest, so it doesn't turn into encounter, short rest, encounter, short rest, encounter, long rest. Because a lot of games are like that. But I do think that this new direction, this new D&D that they're going to be putting out, this version, is going to be a few of the house rules. Currently, the optional rules are going to be formalized. I don't know what they are. Alignment, I think, is probably one of them. And then I think whatever they add to it, it is all going to be stuff that gives players more options, and gives DMs a better blanket of, frankly, of protection versus the kind of min-max nation that some of these things have come together to create. I did a video a long time ago on the Edition Wars. WotC is going to be very careful not to call this a new edition. They will not, especially if it is completely compatible with other 5e products. The last thing they want to do is basically say, this is a 6th ed book, but it works with your 5 ed books, because then they get caught in that situation of, well, if it works with the 5 ed, why did you put a new edition out at all? You know, that is how you know, the language works. Or if, you know, it didn't change very much, then it's just seen as a cash grab. Oh, it was time for us to buy new books. So they're in kind of a hard place, and I think, you know, obviously when it gets closer, should this channel still be going, hopefully it will, subscribe, send more subscribes, like, share, get me more followers, get me more subscribers, so the channel keeps going. But because of all of that, I think that, you know, we'll obviously cover it when it happens, but I I'm hoping that this is WotC's way of fixing some rules errors, some issues within the rules, rather than using it as a way to wholesale fix the way that their game is viewed. I'm hoping this is not a coat of paint to make certain parties happy, that this is an actual decision that was made to better the game in whatever way. Not just to placate certain people, not just to be like, hey, look, we did this because we're, all new wave. And also not to, I don't want them to be like they're just shutting people up either. Because some of the stuff that happened in Tasha's was seen as, oh, you're just trying to keep us quiet. I would like to see a happy medium. A nice rules revision, clean up a couple of things, make things a little easier on everybody, but also make it a little more accessible. So if your table has a problem with, X terminology, don't use it. Use this. If your table doesn't like the fact that player characters get stuck in classes between levels and they can't really change things, then maybe, this new rule they came up with that lets people alter their characters midway, which is that I don't even know if that's true. I'm just necessarily saying that whatever it is, if the goal of all of this, always for the companies to make money and for the players to have fun. That is it. Put a pin in it. Stop. If you are having a good time and you are not harming someone else or shoving your good time onto someone that is making them uncomfortable, you're doing it right. Period. There you go. Speaking of, I know I rambled. I talked a lot about a lot of different things today, and the topic was kind of short. It was just the fact that they announced it. This is a thing. This is my opinion. I want to hear yours. Please comment below. Let's go ahead and start this. Start a cool comment chain over the next month. Get other people involved. Get other people onto this channel so they can get involved in the conversation. And who knows? Maybe they can win a Turbo Dork patch and sticker. And maybe, I'm not saying that I will, but maybe whoever wins, I might throw something else fun and interesting in that they weren't expecting. So, whatever the case may be, I want you guys to go out there, have a good time, be safe, get vaccinated, wear your mask, don't lick doorknobs, unless you know they're clean. Go out there, have a good time, put a smile on your face, even if it's behind a mask. Enjoy life, and play some games. We'll see you next week.